In the year 2075, the world had transformed into a digital utopia, where paper was considered a relic of the past, and books were something people read about in history holovids. Buildings were sleek, technology was integrated into every aspect of life, and the idea of reading a physical book was almost laughable. That was until Alex stumbled upon a hidden gem nestled in the heart of the old city, a place that time seemed to have forgotten. Alex, a young software engineer with a passion for ancient digital archives, had always felt a deep sense of nostalgia for the past they had never lived. While exploring a neglected part of the city, where the old architecture clashed with the new, Alex noticed a narrow alley that wasn't on any digital map. Driven by curiosity and an adventurous spirit, Alex followed the alley, which led to an old weathered door with a sign hanging above. The Last Bookstore. Feeling a mixture of excitement and disbelief, Alex pushed the door open. The scent of old paper and leather greeted them, a stark contrast to the sterilized air of the digital age. Inside, the bookstore was a labyrinth of towering shelves, filled with books of every size and color. Dust particles danced in the beams of light filtering through the windows, and the silence was a welcome reprieve from the constant hum of the city. The owner of the bookstore, an elderly person with kind eyes and a gentle smile, looked up from behind a wooden counter. "Welcome to the last bookstore on Earth," they said, their voice a soft echo in the quiet. "Feel free to explore. You might just find something that changes your life." Intrigued and a bit overwhelmed, Alex began to wander through the aisles, running fingers over spines that held stories from centuries past. It was in a forgotten corner of the store that Alex discovered a peculiar book with no title, just an intricate lock that seemed to beckon them. Unable to resist, Alex brought the book to the owner, asking about its origins. The owner, with a twinkle in their eye, handed Alex an old, ornate key. "This book," they explained, "is said to unlock the greatest adventures and deepest truths. But remember, once you start this journey, your view of the world will never be the same." As Alex turned the key in the lock, the pages began to glow, illuminating words that seemed to leap off the page. It was then that Alex realized this was no ordinary bookstore, and they were about to embark on a journey that would transcend time and imagination, a journey that would indeed change their life forever. As Alex flipped through the glowing pages of the mysterious book, the words seemed to lift from the pages, swirling around in the air before settling back down, forming the beginning of a story that felt both ancient and incredibly personal. The first story was about a lost civilization that lived in harmony with the earth, a stark contrast to the world Alex knew, dominated by technology and disconnection from nature. The more Alex read, the more the room around them began to change. The walls of the bookstore faded away, replaced by the lush, green landscape of the story. Alex found themselves standing in a forest, the air fresh and filled with the sounds of life. It was as if they had stepped into the book itself, experiencing the story firsthand rather than just reading it. In this world, people communicated with the animals, plants, and even the earth itself. They understood the language of the wind and the songs of the rivers. The civilization revered a great library that was said to hold the knowledge of the universe, guarded by a society of scholars who dedicated their lives to protecting and learning from the books. Alex, now a character within the story, embarked on a quest to find this library, guided by a map that appeared in their hand, drawn in the book's glowing ink. Along the way, they encountered challenges that tested their courage, wisdom, and heart. They helped a village reconnect with their forgotten heritage, solved ancient riddles inscribed in the roots of the oldest tree in the forest, and even befriended a wolf who taught them the true meaning of loyalty and friendship. The journey to the library was fraught with dangers, from treacherous landscapes to a shadowy figure that seemed to be following Alex, intent on stopping them from reaching their destination. But with each challenge, Alex grew stronger, more compassionate, and more connected to the world around them. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity and a day, Alex arrived at the library. It was grander than anything they had ever imagined, with towers of books stretching into the sky, each book glowing with its own light. The scholars welcomed Alex, recognizing them as the one foretold to bring a new era of understanding between the digital and natural worlds. As Alex opened the first book in the library, they realized that the stories within were not just tales of the past, but lessons for the future. The shadowy figure that had been following them revealed itself to be a manifestation of Alex's own doubts and fears about the world's reliance on technology at the expense of nature and human connection. With the knowledge gained from the library and the experiences of the journey, Alex confronted and overcame their fears, understanding that balance between technology and nature was key to a harmonious future. The story ended with Alex returning to the modern world, but this time with a mission to bridge the gap between the digital age and the ancient wisdom of the earth, armed with the transformative power of stories to change hearts and minds. As the last page turned, the room solidified around Alex once again. They were back in the bookstore, the mysterious book closed in their hands, its pages no longer glowing but warm to the touch. Alex looked up to find the bookstore owner watching them, a knowing smile on their face. "You've returned," the owner said, "and with that, you bring a new beginning." With the adventure in the ancient world behind them, Alex felt a profound change within. The bookstore, once a quiet refuge, now seemed alive with possibilities. The owner, sensing Alex's transformation, gestured to the myriad shelves. "There are more stories waiting for you," they said. "Each one has its own lesson, its own world to discover." Eager to explore further, Alex wandered through the aisles, drawn to a section they hadn't noticed before. Here, the books seemed older, their covers etched with symbols that shimmered under the soft lighting. One book in particular caught Alex's attention. Its cover was a deep blue, with a silver compass embossed on the front, the needle spinning freely. As soon as Alex's fingers brushed the cover, the compass needle stopped, pointing directly at them. The air around Alex hummed with energy, and they knew this was the next story calling to them. Opening the book, Alex was enveloped in a gust of wind, and the bookstore vanished, replaced by an endless ocean stretching to the horizon under a starlit sky. Alex found themselves aboard an ancient sailing ship, the wooden deck creaking beneath their feet. The crew, a group of explorers from different corners of the world, welcomed Alex as one of their own. They were on a quest to find the Island of Eternal Truth, a place said to hold the answers to humanity's greatest mysteries. The journey was perilous, with storms raging and monstrous sea creatures emerging from the depths. Yet, with each challenge, Alex learned the value of teamwork, bravery, and perseverance. The crew became not just allies, but family, sharing stories of their homelands, dreams, and fears. One night, as the ship sailed through a sea of glowing bioluminescence, the captain, a wise and aged navigator, shared with Alex the true purpose of their voyage. It wasn't just the Island of Eternal Truth they sought, but the journey itself, the experiences shared, the bonds formed, and the wisdom gained along the way. Alex's role in the crew became clear. With their unique perspective, bridging the ancient and the digital, Alex helped navigate through uncharted waters, deciphering star maps that combined celestial knowledge with digital algorithms. Together, they discovered pathways through the seas that had remained hidden to those who favored one world over the other. Finally, the island appeared on the horizon, a verdant paradise surrounded by mist. But as they approached, the crew realized that the island was not a destination, but a mirror, reflecting their deepest selves. The Island of Eternal Truth was within them, the culmination of their journey's lessons about courage, love, and understanding. As the realization dawned, Alex found themselves back in the bookstore, the blue book closed in their hands. The room was filled with a soft, early morning light, and the outside world was beginning to stir. The bookstore owner, now tidying up the shelves, glanced over. "The journey changes us," they remarked. "It shows us who we are and who we can be." "What did you find on your journey, Alex?" Alex smiled, a sense of peace and purpose settling in their heart. "I found that truth isn't a destination," they replied. "It's a journey, one that we're all on together, and it's the stories we share that guide us." The owner nodded, a gleam of approval in their eyes. And so, the story continues. There are more adventures within these walls, each book a doorway to a new world. When you're ready, they await. Alex looked around the bookstore, now seeing it not just as a collection of old stories, but as a vessel of journeys yet to be embarked upon. With a newfound resolve, Alex knew their adventure was just beginning, a bridge between worlds, past and future, ready to explore the untold stories that lay waiting in the pages of the last bookstore. Inspired by the journeys within the pages of the last bookstore, Alex felt a profound connection to the world around them, a world brimming with stories yet untold and adventures waiting to be discovered. With a heart full of curiosity and a mind enriched by the tales of old and new, Alex knew it was time to share these experiences beyond the confines of the bookstore's ancient walls. The next morning, with the city awash in the golden hues of dawn, Alex set out with a plan to bridge the digital divide, to blend the ancient wisdom found in the pages of physical books with the boundless possibilities of the digital age. Their first step was to create a digital archive, a virtual representation of the last bookstore, accessible to anyone curious enough to explore the depths of human imagination and wisdom. Alex worked tirelessly, coding and designing a platform that mirrored the enchantment of the physical store. They digitized stories, carefully preserving the essence of each book, ensuring that the digital experience was as captivating as reading the physical one. This digital archive was not just a collection of texts. It was an immersive world where users could wander through virtual aisles, open books to find worlds unfolding before them, and experience the stories as Alex had. As the archive went live, it quickly captured the imaginations of people around the globe. But Alex knew that the true magic of the last bookstore lay in the tangible connection between reader and book, the weight of the volume in their hands, the turn of each page. To recreate this connection, Alex organized virtual reality sessions where participants could visit the bookstore, feel the texture of the books, and smell the scent of old paper, all from the comfort of their homes. These sessions became a bridge, connecting people from different backgrounds and cultures, all united by their love for stories. The buzz around the digital archive and virtual reality sessions caught the attention of educators, historians, and storytellers who saw the potential to use these platforms as tools for learning and connection. Schools began to incorporate the archive into their curricula, using stories to teach history, ethics, and literature in a more engaging way. Historians contributed books from their personal collections, enriching the archive with rare texts that were previously inaccessible to the public. Amidst this digital revolution, Alex organized live events at the last bookstore, inviting authors, poets, and dreamers to share their stories and visions for the future. These events were streamed globally, allowing participants from around the world to engage in discussions, share ideas, and forge new connections. The bookstore became a hub of cultural exchange, a place where technology and tradition merged to create something entirely new. One evening, as the bookstore closed and the last of the virtual visitors logged off, Alex sat among the stacks of books, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. The digital archive and virtual reality sessions had started as a way to share the magic of the last bookstore, but they had become so much more. They were a testament to the power of stories to connect us, to teach us, and to inspire us to dream of a better world. The owner of the last bookstore, who had watched Alex's journey from the beginning, joined them among the books. "You've done something remarkable," they said. "You've shown that in a world where everything is digital, there's still a place for the tangible, for the real. You've reminded us that stories are not just about escaping reality, they're about connecting more deeply with it." Alex looked around at the bookstore, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and purpose. "The stories we hold dear, the lessons we learn from them, they're what make us human," Alex replied. "And no matter how far technology advances, that's something we should never forget." Together they looked ahead to the future, to the stories yet to be told and the adventures yet to be had, knowing that the last bookstore would always be there, a beacon for those who seek to explore the infinite worlds contained within the pages of a book. Amid the success and global connection fostered by the digital archive and virtual reality experiences, Alex felt a yearning for something more personal, a project that would bring the essence of the last bookstore into the physical realm once again. They envisioned a traveling exhibit, a mobile version of the bookstore that could visit communities around the world, especially those where access to books was limited. This exhibit would not only carry books, but also the spirit of discovery and connection that had defined Alex's journey. With the bookstore owner's blessing and a network of global volunteers, Alex set to work. The exhibit was designed as a modular space, easily transported and set up in public squares, schools, and parks. Each module contained selections of books curated to spark curiosity and imagination, along with interactive digital displays that told the stories behind the books and their authors. The inaugural journey of the traveling exhibit was met with enthusiasm and wonder. In cities and towns, people gathered to explore the books, to touch and read them, to share stories and dreams. Children who had never held a physical book were mesmerized by the illustrations and the feel of the pages. Adults rediscovered the joy of getting lost in a story, of the tangible pleasure of turning pages. At each stop, local storytellers, poets, and musicians were invited to share their art, creating a tapestry of cultural exchange that enriched every visit. The exhibit became a catalyst for community gatherings, where discussions about the stories read led to conversations about shared challenges and aspirations. It was a reminder of the power of stories to bring people together, to bridge differences, and to foster a sense of belonging. As the exhibit traveled, Alex collected stories from the communities visited, stories of change, hope, and resilience. These stories were added to the digital archive, creating a living document of the journey and the connections made. The project highlighted the importance of accessibility to literature and the arts, sparking initiatives to create permanent libraries and cultural spaces in underserved areas. One evening, in a small village that had welcomed the exhibit with open arms, Alex organized a storytelling event under the stars. As people from the village and the surrounding areas gathered, sharing food and music, Alex reflected on the journey so far. They realized that the true value of the last bookstore and its projects lay not in the books themselves, but in the shared human experiences they facilitated. Looking around at the faces illuminated by the firelight, Alex saw a reflection of the diverse worlds they had encountered in the stories, each person carrying their own unique narrative. It was a powerful reminder that while technology could connect us across vast distances, it was these face-to-face interactions, these moments of communal storytelling, that truly shaped our understanding of each other and the world. The traveling exhibit continued its journey, leaving behind a legacy of inspired communities and new storytellers. For Alex, the project had evolved into a personal mission to ensure that stories and books remained accessible to all, serving as bridges between the digital and physical, the ancient and the modern, the individual and the collective. As the night deepened, the stories continued to flow, each one adding to the rich tapestry of human experience. And in those moments, Alex knew that the spirit of the last bookstore lived on, not just in the pages of books or the bytes of digital archives, but in the hearts and minds of people everywhere, forever connected by the timeless art of storytelling. As the seasons changed and the traveling exhibit wove its way through continents, bringing the magic of the last bookstore to corners of the world both remote and bustling, Alex witnessed a transformation not only in the communities visited, but within themselves. Each interaction, each shared story, wove a richer fabric of understanding and empathy, highlighting the universal power of storytelling to transcend boundaries and connect hearts. In the wake of the exhibit's journey, a global network of storytellers, readers, and dreamers emerged, connected by the digital archive and inspired by the physical presence of the books and the stories they held. This community, diverse in background but united in their love for stories, began to collaborate on projects that extended beyond the written word, incorporating art, technology, and environmental conservation, reflecting the multifaceted nature of storytelling in the modern world. Amidst this whirlwind of activity and connection, Alex received an invitation to speak at a global conference on the future of storytelling. Standing on the stage, looking out at the sea of faces from all over the world, Alex shared the journey of the last bookstore, from a hidden gem in a forgotten city alley to a beacon of hope and connection in the digital age. They spoke of the traveling exhibit, the virtual reality experiences, and the digital archive. But most importantly, they shared the stories of the people they had met along the way. Alex's message was clear. In a world where technology offered infinite ways to connect, the most profound connections still came from the simple act of sharing a story. They called for a reimagining of how stories could be used to bridge the gaps between us, to heal, to inspire, and to build a more empathetic and understanding world. The speech resonated deeply, sparking conversations that continued long after the conference ended. Ideas flowed, partnerships formed, and new projects were conceived, all aimed at exploring the endless possibilities of storytelling. As Alex returned to the last bookstore, they found it buzzing with activity. The owner, who had been the catalyst for Alex's journey, greeted them with a proud smile. "You've started something remarkable," they said. "This bookstore was always meant to be more than a place for books. It was meant to be a starting point for journeys, a space for connections, a beacon for the power of stories. You've taken that vision and carried it into the world." In the quiet moments after the store had closed for the day, Alex sat among the books, reflecting on the journey. They realized that the true power of the last bookstore lay not in its uniqueness as the last physical bookstore on Earth, but in its ability to inspire action, to remind us of the tangible impact stories can have on the world. The journey had come full circle, but it was far from over. Alex knew that there were more stories to discover, more journeys to embark upon, and more lives to touch. The last bookstore, with its ancient shelves and digital archives, stood ready to continue its mission, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of stories and the endless potential for connection in a rapidly changing world. And so, under the soft glow of the bookstore's lights, amidst the whispers of pages turning and the distant hum of the digital world, Alex began to plan the next chapter, confident in the knowledge that as long as there were stories to be told, the last bookstore would be there, a gateway to worlds both old and new, waiting for the next curious soul to walk through its doors.